Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how you can make a beautiful ribbon wreath like these with just a couple of things. So let's get started. You will need a 14-inch wired wreath from the Dollar Tree, some rolls of ribbons. I'm using these play 2.5-inch by 20 feet wired ribbon from Michaels, and 4 rolls of 2.5 by 9 feet of orange wired ribbon, some Chanel stems, scissors, and a ruler. First, you will need to get your Chanel stems or pipe cleaners. You can also use zip ties if you like. Now, I don't have enough Chanel stems for this project, so I will be cutting each one to 4 inches. That's about 3 pieces. It's best to at least cut them in half as it's easier to work that way. So I'm going to finish this and set them to the side. I will then grab a Chanel stem and my wired wreath. I'm going to tie my first pipe cleaner to the second innermost wire nice and tight. This is the way it should look. Then I will grab my rolls of ribbon. I've already opened them and dropped them to the floor. I find that it's easier to work with. Then I'm putting my ribbons together in the order that I want them, making sure that they're all facing the right way. Then grab the edge of the ribbons and pinch it. Grab your pipe cleaner and give it a good tie, making sure that it's nice and tight. And I just went ahead and I tucked the poking wire to the back. And this is how it should look. For this project, I'm going to make 4 loops per section. There are 6 sections in total, so there should be 24 loops. And I'm going to grab my ruler and I am going to make my loops 9 inches each one. Since this ribbon is a little thick, I'm going to make them 9 inches. I will then grab my Chanel stem and I'm going to pinch those ribbons together and I'm going to go ahead and tie it onto the second wire. Just going to give it a really good twist just to make sure that it's nice and tight. And that is my first loop. For the rest of the loops, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not going to measure it anymore. And all of the loops are all going to be all tied to that second wire. This part is the most time consuming, but you will see at the end just how beautiful it looks. And this is something so pretty and so easy to make. Now, I did have to use 4 rolls of that orange ribbon because I didn't realize when I bought them they only had 9 feet on each one, so I had to go out to buy 2 more rolls just to complete this wreath. So don't make the same mistake that I made. Make sure to have enough ribbon. 20 feet per roll is good if you're going to do the loops 9 inches like me. One of the reasons I like to make these wreaths rather than buying them is just because they're easy to make. They're also a lot cheaper than those store-bought ones. And not to mention, there's really not much of a variety of ribbon wreaths at the store. And I get to make it to my liking, and I can even make several matching ones around my house. I made 2 of these because I have double doors. So I'm finally on my last loop. So sorry it took a bit long, but if you see, I do have some plaid ribbon left over. So I'll go ahead and cut that and finish that last loop. I just have to squeeze in that last loop and tie it nice and tight. So this is what your wreath should look like. I'm going to turn it over and just make sure to tighten all of those pipe cleaners. Then I'm going to cut the excess wire and tuck in all of the poking wire. And now for the fun part. I'm going to start pulling apart the ribbon. I'm just gonna grab the inner ribbon and grab the outer one, and I'm just gonna pull them all apart. I was pretty lucky this year when I bought these wired ribbons at Michael's. These usually run anywhere from $7 to $10 each one. But to my surprise, they had a small section of these at the front of the store and they had them at 70% off. So it costed me $3 each roll. I think this is turning out really nice. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish the rest of it. Now I'm just going to fluff it up. I really love the way this wreath is coming out. I honestly think that this is a much better option than getting those store-bought ones. It's so unique and you can pretty much just use any ribbon and for any occasion. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get started with my bow. So now with my plaid ribbon that I have left over, I'm gonna be making just a simple bow. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to make a loop at the very end and do the same thing with the other one. I'm just going to try to match them up a bit so that they're about the same size. I'm going to then turn them over to facing to the front. And that's the way that it should look. Then I'm going to grab my very last chenille stem. I'm going to squeeze the middle of my bow. And I'm going to tie it nice and tight. And that's what my bow looks like. Now, I did have a square left of that orange ribbon. So I'm just going to fold it over and put it over the chenille stem. And I'm just going to staple that. Now I'm just gonna fluff up my bow, just kind of fix it up a bit. And that is my bow. Now it is a little bit too long on the ends, so I'm just gonna cut them. And I'm also going to dovetail them. I think that looks so pretty. To do the dovetail cut on the ribbon, all you have to do is just grab the end of your ribbon, fold it over in half, and you're just going to grab your scissors and just pretty much just cut a triangle. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that on both of the edges. Just going to put it over my wreath, and look at that. Isn't that pretty? So I ran out of chenille stems at this point, so I did have a long tie, a wire tie. So I'm just gonna use that. I'm just gonna put it in there, and I'm just gonna tie it to the wire wreath. Now you don't have to do this. You can, if you prefer to use the hot glue, you can do that, or if you have more chenille stems, you can do that, but I'm just gonna keep it like this. I'm just gonna turn the wreath over just to see where I'm tying it. Oh, see, I'm not tying it quite right. So let me just tie it nice and tight. And I'm just gonna fluff up the bow and kind of fix up the wreath since it is a little tight in there. But overall, that is how my wreath looks. Isn't this so nice? I'm officially ready for this autumn. I've already decorated my home with all of my autumn decor, and now I have my newest additions going on my front doors. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you like the way I made this wreath, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.